Have you ever stopped to think about language? I mean, really think about it. How we actually master it, why it matters so much, beyond just school tests.
That's a great question. And it's exactly what we're tackling today. We're doing a deep dive into something that might seem a bit dry at first glance.
Uh-huh.
The Georgia Department of Education's K-12 English Language Arts Standards for grades 6-8. But trust me, it's actually a kind of shortcut to understanding the real core of language mastery.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So this document, it's a guide for teachers, right?
It is, but it's laid out so clearly. It gives practical examples, shows what skills look like in action.
Right, with vocabulary, teaching strategies, scenarios, it's all about getting everyone on the same page for applying these standards effectively, making language a strategic choice, really.
Exactly. So our mission for you today is to unpack some of these key pieces. We want to show you the surprising insights, the practical tools just hiding in plain sight within the language domain.
Everything from how sentences get built to the subtle power of, like, a single word choice.
Precisely.
Mhm.
Think of it as getting under the hood of language.
All right, let's do it. To really master language, you've got to start with the foundations, right? The rules.
Mhm.
So let's dive into what these Georgia standards call grammar conventions. Specifically, the focus on GUM.
GUM.
Yeah, grammar, usage, and mechanics. Standard 6.8 LGC.1.
Gotcha. Okay, so this standard is basically about equipping people to, well, first notice, then analyze, and finally use the structures of standard English.
And why is that so critical?
Well, as you move forward, academically or out in the real world, being precise matters. Understanding how words and phrases connect lets you convey complex ideas clearly, avoid, confusion.
And the standards get pretty specific for middle school, don't they? I saw things like intensive pronouns, verb aspects, participles.
Fourth conjunctions, specific punctuation like semicolons and lists, ellipses, hyphens.
Yeah, it's not just random rules. These are like precision tools for communication.
Absolutely. And the document highlights some fascinating distinctions. Let's take one example. Reflexive versus intensive pronouns.
Okay, like myself, yourself, himself. Those words.
Exactly. The words look the same, but their job in the sentence, totally different. And that changes the meaning or the emphasis.
So a reflexive one, that's when the action sort of bounces back to the subject. Like, I treated myself to steak.
Right. The subject does the action to or for itself.
Okay.
But an intensive pronoun, same word, different role. It's all about emphasis. It points back to a noun or pronoun earlier in the sentence to give it extra weight.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Like, I myself wouldn't touch that. See,
Yeah.
it emphasizes the I. It suggests maybe others would, but I personally wouldn't. It adds that layer of conviction.
Ah, okay. So the key difference is that emphasis. It often sits right next to what it's emphasizing, adding that punch.
Exactly. It's not just referring back, it's highlighting. Think about how understanding that tiny difference could make your writing, say, in a report or an email, much clearer, much more impactful.
Yeah, it's about control, isn't it? Choosing the right tool for the job. Okay, so that's GUM. What's next?
Well, once you have the building blocks, you need to know how to put them together, right?
Makes sense. Sentence structure.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It takes us to syntax, standard 6.8 LGC.2.
The architecture of sentences.
That's a good way to put it. Syntax is about understanding how sentences are built, not just to understand what you read, but so you can build your own sentences effectively.
To get your point across clearly, maybe with a certain style.
Exactly. Developing syntactic awareness lets you manipulate structures for clarity, style, meaning. It's like sentence engineering.
And the standards cover things like different sentence patterns, simple, compound.
Simple, compound, complex, compound, complex. Yep. Also active and passive voice and how to handle modifiers correctly. Avoiding those awkward, misplaced, or dangling ones.
I've all seen those.
Right. And the document has this really neat example showing how manipulating sentences makes writing more sophisticated.
Oh, yeah. What is it?
It starts super simple. 3 little sentences. The cat slept, the cat was tired, the dog barked.
Okay.
Basic. Very. But then it shows how you combine the first 2. The cat slept and the cat was tired. How would you naturally link those?
The cat slept because it was tired creates that cause and effect.
Perfect. That's a complex sentence. And then you can weave in the third one.
So the cat slept because it was tired and the dog barked.
You got it. A complex sentence. It shows how combining adds flow and connects ideas, but it also makes you think.
What's that?
Why is sentence combining actually useful? Like when you're revising something you wrote.
Well, the document hints at answers like adding variety, right? Making it sound less choppy.
Making ideas clearer, helping the writing flow better.
Exactly. It shows even simple changes can make a big difference. But it also raises a point, doesn't it? Is more complex always better?
That's the crucial question. Sophistication is good, but clarity is king. Sometimes, especially if you need to be really direct or reach a wide audience, shorter sentences work better.
Right. It's about choosing the right structure for your purpose, not just the most complicated one. Deliberate choices.
Precisely.
Okay, this is great. Now, let's shift gears a bit to something I think is really fascinating: vocabulary. This whole section in the standards, LV1, 2, and 3, it seems huge.
It is. It's all about how you not only expand your vocabulary, but deepen it. Build word analysis skills and morphology and really get the nuances of meaning.
And the core idea seems to be using words accurately, precisely.
Yes, and learning them in context, not just lists. Building a vocabulary you can actually use strategically.
Okay, so the first part, LV1, breaks vocabulary down. What are the categories?
Three main types: general, academic, and disciplinary.
General is everyday words.
Yeah, like happy, problem, walk, eat, basic stuff.
And academic?
Words used more in school or professional settings. They often help express ideas more precisely across different subjects. Think analyze, compare, interpret, evidence.
Right. More formal, maybe?
Often, yeah. And then disciplinary vocabulary is the really specialized stuff.
Like jargon.
Essentially, words tied to a specific subject. Photosynthesis in science. Denominator in math. Metaphor in ELA.
Okay, so why should you, the listener, care about knowing these different types?
Well, the document suggests that understanding these types helps you choose the right word for the right situation. You can express yourself more clearly, more effectively.
And sound like you know what you're talking about, whether it's in class or, a meeting.
Exactly. It's about adaptability and precision.
Cool. Okay, next up is LV2, word analysis. Sounds like detective work.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
This part is all about using your knowledge of words, how they're built, to figure out unfamiliar ones.
So etymology, roots, prefixes, suffixes, all that jazz.
All that jazz. Understanding Greek and Latin roots, how prefixes change meaning, how suffixes change the word's function. It's about deconstruction and construction, taking words apart and building them up.
Can morphology really be that powerful?
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. Take biology. If you know bio means life, and penology means the study of.
Then biology is the study of life, even if you'd never seen the word before.
Right. Or think about unbreakable. Un means not. Break is the root. Able means capable of being. So not capable of being broken. Knowing those pieces unlocks the meaning instantly.
It's like having a decoder ring for complex language.
It really is. It helps you tackle tough academic texts, professional jargon. It aids comprehension massively, but also helps you create your own precise language. It's understanding the DNA of words.
Love that. Okay, finally, LV3. This gets into nuance.
Definitely. This is about denotative and connotative meaning.
Denotative is the literal dictionary definition.
Yep, and connotative is, well, the baggage the word carries, the feelings, the ideas, the associations.
Like thrifty versus cheap. Both mean saving money, but the feeling is totally different.
Precisely. This standard is about understanding those subtle shades of meaning, word relationships, like synonyms and antonyms.
Synonyms are similar meanings, like happy and glad. Antonyms are opposites, hot and cold.
Right. And also analogies.
Okay, the example was dog is to puppy as cat is to kitten, showing that relationship adult to young.
Exactly. It's about recognizing those patterns and relationships between words or concepts. It pushes you beyond just knowing definitions.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's not just vocabulary size.
No, it's about depth. Understanding context, emotional weight, how words connect. It's about interpreting meaning accurately and using words strategically, purposefully to achieve a certain effect.
It's the art of language, really, making communication powerful.
You got it.
Wow. Okay, we've really covered a lot of ground here, diving into these Georgia ELA standards for grades 6 to 8. We've hit grammar, usage, mechanics, the architecture of syntax, the whole world of vocabulary.
And hopefully you see now how this document, even though it's for educators, offers really concrete examples and actionable insights for anyone wanting to understand language better.
It definitely maps out a path to deeper understanding and more, well, strategic use of language.
It transforms rules from things you just have to follow into tools you can actually wield.
Yeah, and ultimately, mastering language. It isn't just about ticking boxes or sounding smart. It's about unlocking deeper understanding, expressing yourself with real precision, maybe even artistry.
And fundamentally shaping how you see the world and how you interact with it. Thinking clearly, persuading effectively.
So that leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener.
A provocative question, perhaps.
Yeah. How might applying just one thing we talked about today, maybe really thinking about an intensive pronoun, or deliberately combining a couple of sentences, or even just breaking down one complex word using its roots, how might that change the way you read or the way you write tomorrow?
Not just for correctness, but for real, tangible impact. Something to chew